Can we get started already?
Well, you gotta make sure that shit works.
Tyler Ero's a better all-around shooter than he is.
All around, yeah, but 3-point, no.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You're on crack.
Nope.
Worthy.
Is Cooper Kupp a Hall of Famer?
No!
No!
Yeah!
Okay. Cooper Kupp is the same as Kawhi Leonard.
No, he's not!
Started.
Tyreek Hill's family. Tyreek Hill was never the best receiver in the league. He was top 3. Ray Lewis was the best player in the league.
It is a criminal act
And
of what he did to that organization.
Average
last
quarterback,
year.
I have him at 15.
I have him at 24.
No, that's crazy. That's
No.
crazy. Listen, Dak Prescott is not. Just because he's overpaid doesn't mean he's bad.
Tell me what big game he's won.
That doesn't matter.
Yes,
You
it
don't-
does.
No, it doesn't.
Welcome back to the Third Lane Podcast. It is just me today with Thanksgiving being 2 days. This episode should come out Wednesday morning, Tuesday night. It is being recorded at 6:50 Tuesday. So today, it might be a little bit longer of an episode. We're going to cover the NFL games because there's a lot I want to talk about. The college football bracket because there's a good bit I want to talk about with that. And then just some things with the NBA. Kind of like the Jaw, Detroit, stuff like that we'll get into. And then hopefully it won't be too long. But starting out with the NFL, we're going to start off with Thursday night's game. The Bills versus the Texans. The Texans won 23-19. And this is not that good of a Texas offense. The fact they won was kind of big. Josh Allen threw 2 picks. James Cook, played his butt out. He's showing he deserved that extension. And, this is what you wanted to see when you extended him. You waited because you're like, I don't know if I'm going to get gas. And, for right now, you're getting gas from him. It's not like one of those things where it's running down. The problem is with the Bills, and we'll talk about the Texans defense and their offense in a minute, because I want to focus on the Bills right now. They don't have a number one receiver. A traditional number one. Their number one receiver is Khalil Shakir. The problem is he's not that big and he's a slot. And the problem is, Cooper Kupp was kind of like a slot receiver, but he moved to the outside. You could run a two receiver personnel and he'd be on the outside. Khalil Shakir is not. They're going to put him there, but you don't really want him there. He is a predominantly slot person, and I think he's a phenomenal number 2. I think he's kind of like what we saw with the Raiders with Jacoby Myers. It's wonderful number 2, low end number 1. You don't want him to be your number 1 receiver. He's a great complementary piece. And we saw it last year. The issue is they drafted Keon Coleman, and there's a lot of. Keon Coleman was drafted knowing he's a project, that it was going to take a while. This year, he opened out of the gate great. I think he had 110 yards in the first game against the Ravens. Fantastic. Holy cow. We're seeing what Cam Coleman has, but he's been quiet ever since, and now there's these issues with I think showing up late to meetings. And now he's been a healthy scratch for 2 straight weeks. I don't know really what's behind that. The first one was because for discipline. This one I don't know. But it's obvious he's not developing into the number 1. They're putting him in the role of him being the number 1, but he's not performing. He's not doing what you need him to do, right? To free up Khalil Shakir to attack the middle of the field and use his speed because he's very fast. They don't have a big body. And so they're having to turn both tight ends now, Dawson Knox and Don Kincaid. And I think we forget how good Dawson Knox was the 3 years before Don Kincaid was drafted. The problem was Dawson Knox was getting older, and Don Kincaid is just such a better player all the way around that Don Kincaid became the guy. But Don Kincaid's kind of dinged up. So he is your de facto number 1. And it just doesn't, without him there, Don Kincaid's not a Brock Bowers. He's a bigger, I think him and Colston Loveland are a very similar player. That he'd be a good 3. Great 3. Maybe a good 2. But he's not a 1. And, they're having to use, holy cow. And Joshua Palmer has not done well. Joshua Palmer came in the season. They were hoping to be his 3. He was a great 3 with the Chargers. I loved him as their number 3 receiver. And he hasn't done that well. Now, again, I don't know if Josh Allen trusts him. He's kind of forcing the ball to Khalil. But, we're seeing Ty Johnson have 45 yards receiving. You're seeing, they brought Gabe Davis back. They are scratching and clawing. Now, rookie, and I was high on him that I want to talk about, Jackson Hawes. I think I had him as a fullback, and I called him like a Kyle Juszczyk when I did the pre-draft process episodes. He's starting to do well. He's starting to do solid. But their offense, man, is just struggling. And their offensive line got manhandled. And this is, like, league-wide, one of the better offensive lines. And their defense, I mean, their secondary is not that good. I don't even think they got a sack. Yeah, they didn't record a sack on a terrible Texans offensive line. Now, I think that Texas offensive line is getting better, but it's not where they need to be. And so, Maxwell Harrison looks good. Deone Walker is kind of fixing the problem where he's 6'7", and he's standing straight up, so he's kind of sitting lower. But again, your pass rushers are Gregory Rousseau, who's a pretty good pass rusher. AJ Espinoza, not a fan of him. And then you got like Shaq Thompson, Larry Ogunjobi. I just butchered his name. And yeah, it's not a great built roster, especially like Jordan Hancock is playing Cole Bishop's a safety. I mean, their best players are like Jordan Poyer, but he's older. He's getting up there in age. Terrell Bernard, Christian Benford, and Dorian Williams. And Matt Milano. But again, Matt Milano in his old right is very injury-ridden and old. He's like 32, 34. But I think this game said a lot about the Texans' defense. And I think this is something that's gone under the radar with how bad their offense has been. They probably have a top 5 defense in all of the NFL. And they've been building at this for years now. I mean, so when they got C.J. Stroud, they traded back up and got Will Anderson. And Will Anderson showed some promise in his first year. The past 2 years, he's shown what he did in college. He's translating. And I'd say he's a probably top 5 edge rusher in the game right now. But you wouldn't think that because the Texans offensively are bad. I mean, they don't have a running game, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And then Danielle Hunter is probably one of the most underrated defensive ends in football. I mean, he probably... I know he has some... you would have no clue from hearing his name that he has this many sacks. I think he's been double-digit the past few years. Last year he had 11. The year before he had 12. The year before he had 16.5. And the year before he had 10.5. In 2019 he had 14.5. 2018 he had 14.5. In 2016 he had 12.5 sacks. He has 110.5 sacks on the career, and he's only 31. And 11 of them, he has 11 this year, and the year's not done. He still has 6 games left. Again, this is a defense that is nasty, right? But why do I say that? Because they push the pocket. And we'll talk about this with the Browns. And I'm working with the Tech football team. I'm starting to watch this myself and learn this. They're pushing the pocket in multiple ways. And the problem with that defensive line is you can't... This is what I was beating at the table about when I was saying the Lions needed to draft another edge rusher in the first round to complement Aiden Hutchinson. The issue is you slide the protection to Aiden Hutchinson's side. He's not getting double-teamed, and he's getting chipped. That's hard to beat. I mean, the only person that could probably beat that is Myles Garrett, and he's playing at a historical level. But you're looking at it, and I mean, like, I've got Football Reference right here. And C.J. Stroud's still out, and we'll talk about that in a second. Let's get defense. Yeah, it goes 11 and 10.5 sacks for Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. You also have Derek Barnett, Folo as a D tackle, Mario Edwards, Sheldon Rankins, Tim Settle, and Danico Audrey, who used to be a good defensive end a few years ago. I think they picked him up from the Titans. And this is a great... The front four is insane. And then when you look at the linebackers, it's Henry Toho. It's... Aziz Al-Shahir, EJ Speed. I mean, this is a good group of linebackers. I mean, so they're pushing the pocket and harassing you on the edge. They've got run stuffers in the middle. So you can't just go down the middle. You have to you're kind of just stuck. Now, they don't get the pressure up the middle of the pocket like some of the other NFL teams do, but, I mean, you're crashing the edges to where the quarterback has to go up. So, okay, maybe you can exploit the middle of the field. No. Azeez Al-Shaair is, again, this defense is so underrated. One of the better middle linebackers in the game. Henry To'oTo'o, very serviceable middle linebacker, and then E.J. Speed was the leading tackler, I think, of the Colts last year. I think he was the leading tackler. And then you go to the secondary, which is probably top 3 in all of football. Kamari Lassiter's having a heck of a season with 2 picks and 10 pass breakups. You've got Derek Stingley, arguably top 3 corner in all of football right now. He's got 3 interceptions, 11 pass breakups. Kalen Bullock, one of the better safeties in the league. I wouldn't say he's elite, but he's pretty good. I mean, he's one of the better safeties on that back end. And then you got Jalen Petrie again. So between them, Kalen Bullock, ball hawk, 4 picks with 6 pass breakups. Jalen Petrie, 3 picks, 5 pass breakups. That is a group, and I mean, they suffocated that Bills receiver squad. And the only way you could beat that group is if you have a number 1, right? And again, I think they had I think he got her absolutely destroyed. There were 7 sacks. He got sacked 7 times, and I think there's a few half ones that Google's not showing me. So we'll say 8. He got sacked 8 times. That's not normal. That pass rush is elite. I mean, Tim Settle had 1, Derek Barnett had 1, Henry To'oTo'o had 1, Will Anderson had 2, and Danielle Hunter had 2. There's not much you can do about that. Offensively, though, here's the problem. They have no running game. Woody Marks is solid. But it's just that. They just cut Dameon Pierce, who I was wondering why he wasn't playing. I felt like he should have been the de facto since he was at least slightly above league average his rookie year. They didn't see anything. I think he had some ball handling issues. So they cut him. You have Nick Chubb, but, I mean, Nick Chubb's not the same. The explosiveness is just not there. And, I mean, rightfully so with the injuries he suffered. And then in the receiving core, I mean, Jaden Higgins is finally now looking like a number 2 receiver potentially. And he's looking good. I mean, let's look at his stats. Because I think it's been interesting to watch his development. He's got 300 yards, but most of that has come in the last handful of weeks. Dalton Schultz is their number 2 receiver. And then you have Xavier Hutchinson, who isn't playing as much anymore, and Jalen Noel. Christian Kirk has not performed well. And, I mean, that's the whole... They brought him in there to be the original number 2 to help bring these young guys, Xavier Hutchinson, Jaden Higgins, who's a rookie, Jalen Noel, who's a rookie, along to where... When Christian Kirk leaves in free agency next year, you've got some young guys to put beside Nico Collins. But you don't. And this offensive line's been a mess. Ariante Arcery, I know, has been the best tackle for them. But outside of that, it's been a hodgepodge of everything. They're getting harassed. I mean, and I think last year we looked at C.J. Stroud going, oh, he regressed, and I'm beating on the table. No, that is arguably the worst offensive line in football. And this year here, it's again, and they made all these changes, and we saw the Titans do the same thing a few years ago, right? They drafted a lot of guys, and they signed a lot of guys, and that's still one of the worst offensive lines in football. But it's just not getting... We're now realizing that, oh, wait, it's not C.J. Stroud. This offensive line is just bad. But C.J. Stroud's out right now with a concussion. Been out multiple weeks, which is kind of concerning. And Davis Mills is a very good backup. I mean, he's been on the team for a while. He's experienced. Is a good quarterback. I think he could start on a terrible team. And they're winning. They're winning games. They're in games. The issue is that division's so bad. I mean, the Colts, and we'll talk about them in a minute, aren't locks. The Titans are bad, and I'm not sold on the Jaguars. So, again, the Texans are still in it, and that defense is going to harass anybody. I just don't know if they can stop Jonathan Taylor. And that's going to be an issue for them. The Bills, I mean, it's starting to look like a lost year. I think they're like 6-5. So they're 7-4. But it's not a good 7-4. They've lost to the Falcons, and the Falcons are bad, and I'll talk about them in a minute. But it's just, you're looking at it, and you're just like, there should be more here. Now, speaking of the Colts, it's the first game that comes up. Colts-Chiefs, right? And I want to talk about the Chiefs. They go 6-5, right? And Kareem Hunt goes for 100 yards rushing. We'll talk about this when we get to the Browns. It's such a week-to-week basis where we're just like, oh my gosh, they played so well this week. They're, the Chiefs they're Super Bowl they're Super Bowl favorites. They're 6-5 right now. The playoffs will not run through Arrowhead, and they've never had that. So we don't know. Again, why are we assuming that they're going to do that? Yes, this is a team that has experience, but this is an offense that struggles bad, and Mahomes is hitting only a quarter. So the stat was Mahomes, his last MVP season, hit 51% of his deep balls. Last year's 35. This year it's 27. That is one of the worst in the league. He went from being elite to below average deep throw passing or deep ball accuracy, and that's a problem, right? Because now Xavier Worthy's taken out of the equation. Your number one receiver, Rashid Shaheed, has been inconsistent. Travis Kelce's old. The offensive line's solid, but again, it's not. I'm not sold on him. I need more, right? And speaking of the Colts, this is a Colts team that we're now seeing does not play well on the road. For whatever reason, right? For whatever reason, they do not play well on the road. I mean, I saw the stat. It's Jonathan Taylor averages 137 yards at home. He averages 75 away. That's not terrible, but again, your starting quarterback is Daniel Jones. But let's go to this game real quick. Patrick Mahomes throws for 352 yards. Slinging it, and this kind of leads to why the hell did the Colts bring in Sauce Gardner? They're torching him, and we saw this when the Falcons played the Jets. That Sauce was going to follow Drake London, not if he goes in the slot. So Sauce is limited, and he's getting picked on. It's getting progressively worse. If you watch, where they're just starting to pick on him more and more, and there's nothing he can do. He's getting called for PIs. I mean, it's a shame, and he's overpaid. But we talked about how Kareem Hunt had 104 yards, right? And I thought it was 22 carries. He had 30 carries, averaged 3.4 yards a carry. League average is 4.1. His longest carry was of 18 yards. So, they force-fed him. And they brought back Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But again, still, Rashid Rice, 8 catches, 141 yards. Xavier Worthy, 4 for 59. This is just not. Juju Smith-Schuster's just kind of there. Noah Gray played decent. Hollywood Brown. I mean, it's just a hodgepodge of receivers and you don't really have a number one. You're looking at, is this week Xavier Worthy? Is this week maybe the 1 out of 5 every 5 weeks that Travis Kelce has it in him, where he can pop off for 75 plus yards? Or is it, Rashid Rice or Xavier Worthy? You don't know, and this is a problem. This is an issue. Defensively, I don't think they're as good as what they used to be. I think they're getting older on the line. But I think Steve Spagnuolo is your DC. That's arguably the best defense coordinator in all of NFL football, and he's going to keep you in games. Now the Colts, Daniel Jones did not play well. 181 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's again, this is not Giants Daniel Jones, but what we saw in the first few weeks compared to now, you're kind of being okay. What am I? This is what we saw last year with Sam Darnold, right? We saw Sam Darnold struggled, and we were okay, who is the same? Who do we have? Do we have Sam Darnold old, a great Sam Darnold, or Sam Darnold of the middle? And I think last year he trended towards the middle. Now, this year for the Seahawks, it's Sam Darnold of the great. And Daniel Jones is kind of struggling. I think we misconceive having him as a game changer. And I've talked about this on the podcast. You have game changers and game managers. I don't know if Daniel Jones is a game changer. He's got game changer tools, but I just don't think between the ears, and that's not a knock on him, he has that killer instinct in him. And I think it's just more of, you just put it Jonathan Taylor's got to run for 100 yards. He had 16 carries, 58 yards. He's got to be a dog. and he's having one of the best running back seasons we've ever seen. But if you shut him down and you make Daniel Jones beat you, you're gonna beat him 7 times out of 10, right? I mean, this is a group with, I mean, probably Tyler Warren is probably one of maybe at most 5 tight ends who is your number one target. It's Tyler Warren, Brock Bowers, George Kittle, Travis Kelce at one point. I think that's the list. That Tucker Kraft before he was hurt. That's it. But I mean, like, Michael Pittman, I'd say is the number 2, maybe a number 1. But like, there's not enough consistency. Josh Downs is a great slot receiver. Ashton Doolin's a great D threat, and Alec Pierce is another great D threat. But like, nobody here. Like, it's Michael Pittman. Like, if I have a good DB, I think I could handle him. Defensively, I mean, this defense, I mean, they've lost to Forrest Buckner. Latu is starting to come on, which is huge. He struggled a little bit last year. He's got 6 sacks on the year. Did I just see that correctly? He has 3 interceptions as well. Him and Dallas Turner have been having a good season. Those guys were kind of drafted. It was kind of like a battle between them in the 24 draft. And I think Dallas Turner went ahead of him. And Dallas Turner did not play well last year. Neither did Latu. But both of them have kind of turned it up. Now, 6 sacks is, you're like, that's cool. But, like, when I spend a first-round pick on you, I want more. But given the specs of everything, it's a promising sight. But, yeah, dude, Joe Pratt had 20 tackles. That's insane. Their secondary, I mean, Cam Bynum, he was amazing last year, right? You have Zaire Franklin. You have Travarius Ward, who's one of the more underrated corners in the game. Jalen Jones, Sauce Gardner, who is kind of dog cheeks. Kenny Moore, Nick Cross. I mean, this is a very good secondary. I'd probably say top 10 secondary. But up front, it's like DeForest Buckner, Latu, Kwity Paye, and JT Tuimoloau. And it's just not ideal. It's just not, like, you're going to need your offense to be your carrying force, right? I think the few years past that defense, and I mean, listen, the Colts have one of the better offensive lines in football. It's just, again, you kind of have a game manager. They're 8-3, by the way, and I don't think it's I don't think it's all fire and brimstone for the Colts. I think this is a team that has got some things to work on, but I mean, shit, it's week 12. Like, the only team that I think is playing elite football is the Rams. And when we get there, we'll talk about that. But they're playing elite football. But the Colts are going to have to fight with the Texans. I think they got 2 games against them, and that's going to be a hell of a matchup. Seahawks, Titans, we'll talk about that real quick. JSN looks fantastic. He's going to go, I mean, he might break the record. I mean, and it's the Sam Darnold JSN connection is insane, and it helps that they're developing their tight ends. They've got Rashid Shaheed. I think that's his name, right? Rashid Shaheed. And then Cooper Kupp. So, like, it's not one of those things where we take away JSN, like, you're done. Well, one of the greatest receivers of our generation, of the last 10 years, 5 years, I'll say 7, Cooper Kupp is in the slot. The whole reason why you brought him. And then you trade for Rashid Shaheed, who's a burner. I mean, that's a good squad. And then in the middle, Elijah Arroyo and AJ Barner Bobo are just going to be just catching passes. And then Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet are very solid running backs. And that offensive line is starting to progress. Now, my friend that's a Seahawks guy says that the right guard is a little bit in center, a little bit work in progress. But, I mean, when you've got 2 great tackles and Grace Abel, left guard, I know he went down. That's great. The Titans, though, there's not much to talk about. I mean, that is the worst team, maybe outside of the Jets, in football. I mean, because Cam Ward, I think we forget, you know, because we watched Tom Brady, and he kind of changed the quarterback game. Him elevating everybody, right? And Tom Brady, we've got to realize Tom Brady was special. Cam Ward has no help. Like, because Calvin Ridley's hurt. His number one receiver is a Yemador. The guy out of Stanford, right? He's a rookie. They just brought in Xavier Restrepo. And, I mean, he had like 20, 40 yards. But, like, again, another rookie. And it's not like the Malik Neighbors rookie. This is a guy that's taken 3rd or 5th round. You're kind of like, you're going to be a number 2, maybe 3. I'm not. He needs help. I mean, if Cam Ward was sucking with a decent with an average offensive line and a average or above average receiving core, okay, we've got a Cam Ward problem. But he's not. He has no help. He doesn't even have a running game. He has no, the Panthers have a better running game. The Panthers have a better receiving core. So we need to pump the brakes on the Cam Ward hate until he gets help. This is probably going to be a longer episode because it says 25 minutes. Giants-Lions. The Lions' offensive line's a problem. It's not that good. Jahmyr Gibbs had a historical game. I mean, they went into OT, and that's, not the greatest thing to do against the Giants. And we'll talk about the Giants in a second because that sounds like slander. Jared Goff had a great game. He had 219 yards on 15 carries. He was averaging 14.6 yards a carry. You know how absolutely stupid that is. Amon-Ra went for pretty much 150. David Montgomery did decent receiving wise. I would like to see them. I mean, J-Mo didn't get involved. Isaac Tashella didn't really get involved. Khalif Raymond was their 3rd leading receiver. But that offense is just a juggernaut. But again, we're starting to see problems, and we saw it with the Giants a little bit. And we'll talk about that defense in a second. You get pressure, it's kind of a problem. I mean, he got hit a lot. And Aiden Hutchinson had the game-winning sack. And Aiden Hutchinson, he has 8 sacks, but if you put who was taken in the 1st round of this year's draft. I mean, I forget who was taken. It's on ESPN. We'll go back half, right? If you have James Pierce, Jalen Walker, I wouldn't say Shamar Stewart, even a Michael Williams, that's so much better. I say he has maybe 10 to 11, but he has no help. And you get a rushing mate like we're seeing in Texas, where they drafted Will Anderson, let him run wild for a year, and then said, okay, here's Danielle Hunter. You've got a rushing mate, right? Go get him. And you always, great teams have 2 pass rushers. The Chiefs, you won't hear about it, but it's that Karlaftis guy, right? George Karlaftis. He's a late 1st round pick out of Purdue. He regularly gives you 10 sacks, right? That's all you want from your number 2 pass rusher is give me 8 to 12 sacks, right? And I want my other guy to give me at least 10. If I can get 2 double-digit sack leaders, great. The Lions don't have that. Now, the Giants, they played. I mean, this team, if they were healthy, are going to be so much better. Jameis Winston played his butt off, 366 yards. Again, I've been wondering for a while why he didn't play. Why he didn't start the year? He was fantastic. Tyrone Tracy looked solid. Wandale Moore finally had a great game. I mean, we've been waiting all season for Wandale Moore to pop off outside of the game where against the Cowboys, where I think Malik Neighbors got hurt. Theo Johnson, I mean, they've got 2 pretty good tight ends at Theo Johnson and Cody Bellinger. And then, again, Tyrone Tracy had another 68 yards receiving. That's a very good receiving core. This is you're down your one, you're down your number one running back, and you're down your starting quarterback. That's a solid squad. Now, defensively. All right, Bear Alexander, who I thought was going to go in the late first round, had 2 sacks last week. Those are his first 2 sacks of the season. He's playing in a logjam, but, I mean, again, it's a great move, great unit. You have Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, Bear Alexander, and you aren't getting much pressure. And you're blowing, like this is a team, you get a lead, you just go pin your earbacks and go after the quarterback. But they've blown 6 fourth quarter leads. They fired their DC, thankfully. But, I mean, how does one, I mean, Talon's a Giants fan. It's been the DC all along, right? They fired Daboll. I love that move. That's happened since we've had issues, technical issues, and really technical issues in the podcasting room. I recorded an episode 2 weeks ago, and it didn't save on my computer. So right now, this is being recorded on my iPad. Fingers crossed, it saves. This episode comes out. Hallelujah. But they're not. I mean, Mike Kifka, I think is his name, has done a great job. This is a team that hasn't given up. This is a team we saw Cam Scadaboo destroy his ankle. We watched Malik Neighbors tear his ACL. Jackson Dart's fighting for his life. I mean, he needs help. I don't know if they draft a lineman or a receiver or maybe a DB in the draft, right? Because, like, the front seven's, like, fine, right? You've got, I mean, who's that? Bobby Okereke. Great. Not great, but good middle linebacker, right? And it's just, this team should not be 2-10, right? They should be, we'll say they, instead of 6, they blow 3. They're 5-7. And that's good. That's good. But you know what's also alarming? This team is going to have a top pick in the draft. And, wait, I think so. If not, it's the Steelers pick, which, holy. Because I don't know if they traded that pick to the Steelers or not. I think it might be next, a 27 first that went over. Let's just actually... It's giving me mock drafts. No, right now they're projected to have the number two pick, and they have Arvell Reese, CBS does, going to him. But you know how stupid that is. Like, you could go spend on an offensive lineman. You could probably spend on a number 2 receiver, because I'm not sold on Wandell Moore. And then you just look at the defense and go, front 5's fixed. I mean, really, we could probably buy a DB. I mean, you're picking, like, they've got money. Watch out. If the Giants can stay healthy and they get a good head coach, that team's going to be a threat. We're not going to even talk about the Commanders when, I mean, they've like thrown this season, right? But we're moving forward because we're 32 minutes in. This is going to be a long episode. Jets, Ravens. Jets are terrible. Jets are just bad. There's no two ways about it. Falcons, Saints. I mean, the Saints are bad. Tyler Shough played well. Michael Penix is out for the year. The offense isn't playing well. The defense isn't really... I mean, honestly, Raheem Morris is fighting for his spot. The D-line looks great. James Pierce had 2 sacks. Jalen Walker had a sack. Jalen Walker's got, 5 on the year as a first-round rookie. That's fantastic. And I'm a Falcons fan. I think this is Raheem Morris' second year. You had the best roster, arguably, in the NFC South, and you're 4-7. And yes, injuries have happened, but you didn't know how to use Michael Penix. We let Nate Landman walk to the Rams, and that's a whole catastrophe in itself. We can't really stop anybody. We can't score points. We let Drew Dahlman. I knew this was going to be a disaster. I just had a feeling. We let Drew Dahlman walk, a top 5 center in the game, to the Bears. Caleb McGarity goes down, and then his backup goes down. So Storm Norton is our starting guard. Storm Norton. And it just hasn't panned out well. And I'm starting to look at this and go, maybe you fire Raheem Morris because it's just not clicking. This team should not be 4-7. You should not have lost to the Panthers twice. You should not have blown the game to the Colts. That's 3 games. You are 7-4 at that point. At some point, you've got to look at Raheem Morris and be like, it's time to go. And I think he's coaching for his job every week. I just think he is. And Billy Bowman has torn his Achilles, so he's probably out for all of next year too. I mean, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on the freaking Falcons. Vikings, Packers. Packers are solid. They don't have a number 1 receiver, and that's a bit of a problem. Emmanuel Wilson ran for 107, but he had 28 carries. We were force-feeding running backs in Week 12. But it wasn't an inspiring win. It was more or less J.J. McCarthy sucks. And I was not a fan when we kind of pushed him. We looked at him at Michigan. We're like, I was not sold on him. Well, he didn't really do much at Michigan. And when he did do stuff, he looked pretty damn good. So, just imagine if he did more. And you gave him more in the receiving corps. And you give him a good OC. Just imagine. And he sits for it. He's going to have to work for it. So if he sits for a year. And he did sit for a year. And yes. Did he have knee problems? Yes. But that doesn't. You could have. It's between the eyes. It is all mental with him. He could have been learning. I mean, he had Sam Darnold. I mean, and Kevin O'Connell. Listen, Kevin O'Connell is your head coach. He's one of the best offensive minds in the game. You could have been learning. And he didn't. And again, I don't think Aaron Jones is a good starting running back. I think he's league average at best. I've never been an Aaron Jones lover. And Jordan Mason, I mean, they split the carries and it just wasn't good. But J.J. McCarthy completed 12 passes for 87 yards and 2 picks. He had a 36 QBR. You spike the ball 15 times, 30 times actually. You have a QBR of 39. He could have just been better throwing that shat in the ground. Justin Jefferson's your number 1 receiver too. Shat, Joe Flacco's playing better. Joe Flacco. I think it'd be different if he was showing flashes, right? He had 1 good quarter against the Bears, and he hasn't really been good since. And it's going downhill fast. I don't know where you put him, though. I don't know what you do with him. Because he has no trade value, right? And I don't see anybody, unless you call the Cowboys and you're like, listen, give me Joe Milton. I'll throw a third and you take J.J. McCarthy and he sit under Dak Prescott. Okay. Maybe. Do you look at the Saints and they draft a guy, right? And you're not sold and you're like, here's J.J. McCarthy. Do you look at the Rams and say, here's the third, here's J.J. McCarthy to sit under Matthew Stafford? Mind you, by the way, speaking of the Falcons, we traded their first-round pick. Well, we'll just get that there when we get there, right? J.J. McCarthy's going to have to sit behind somebody. And Matt Jones has, the QB market's going to be interesting. Do you trade him to a Raider? Okay, sorry about that. iPad ran out of storage. Just cleared that up real quick. But yeah, J.J. McCarthy, you're going to have to trade him as a backup, right? They're 4-7. They had 1 loss last year. I mean, it's quarterback play. They've won more games with Carson Wentz than they have with J.J. McCarthy. And it's strictly quarterback play, and probably it doesn't help that you don't have a good running game. Steelers Bears. We're going to talk about this game a bit. Aaron Rodgers did not play. Kenneth Gainwell kind of being a good number 2 running back blows my mind. because he did not do good with Philly. Well, he did, but like he's more of a scat back. Him getting 10 carries and going 92 yards just makes no sense to me, right? It should be like 50. You're like, okay. And he kind of outperformed. I'm kind of just losing my sanity. Pass rush wise, I mean, again, this is one of the better defensive fronts in the league. Nick Herbig, Jack Sawyer, Cam Hayward, Derek Harmon, Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson, T.J. Watt, Yaya Black. I mean, this is just a unit. Secondary wise, I mean, I'd like to see more. With when you have Joey Porter, Darius Slay, Jalen Ramsey, and Kyle Duggar, and Brandon Eccles. I don't think it's performing up to par, but I mean, it's a good unit. I don't think Aaron Rodgers has a slight break in his wrist. I think he honestly misses time. And if he rushes it back, he'll destroy his wrist more. And you won't have him for the playoffs. But the problem is the Steelers are 6-5. They're going to be an 8-win team again, and it's going to be hysterical. They're going to win 2 to 3 more games, and it's just going to be bad. But the Bears, I mean, they're 8-3. You have no damn clue they're 8-3. Caleb Williams, I mean, completed 54% of his passes, but threw for 239, 3 touchdowns. Solid. We're starting to see the Caleb Williams we saw a little bit more. Just not the ceiling. I don't think Caleb has the instincts to be what we thought that ceiling was going to be. And that's fine. I think he is a game changer because of his arm and because of how talented he is, but I don't think he's a Josh Allen. I said he was a mix between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, but the bad Josh Allen. The stupid mistakes with the crazy good plays where you're like, that should not have worked, right? But the high upside of Patrick Mahomes, I think we're seeing, like, who would it be? I don't even know who you compare him to. But he looks good. Kyle Monangai is kind of taking RB1 attempts, and I think that's fantastic. Again, he's not going to blow you away, but he's a thumper. And that's what you need with this team. And then you just give DeAndre Swift a few carries and go, hey, hit him with speed. And that's the whole reason why you drafted Kyle Monangai, was him to be your David Montgomery and DeAndre Swift to be your Walmart version of Jahmyr Gibbs for now. I would not be surprised in the first round they try to snap Jeremiah Love to be their running back. I honestly wouldn't be shocked. And Luther Burden is starting to come along. I mean, this is a good receiving corps. I mean, Colston Loveland, Romeo Oduzze, DJ Moore, Luther Burden, Olamide Zaccheaus, Cole Kmet. It's a solid squad. But again, the Steelers are just bad. The defense, I'd like to see them get another pass rusher. Grady Jarrett's old. Javon Dexter is all right. And then Montez Sweat, I just don't think he's that good. I don't think he's ever been that good. But the Bears are sneakily good, and it's because they're going to just keep it in a dogfight. Occasionally get turnovers on defense. I mean, we're going to watch them. I'm going to watch them Thursday on Thanksgiving. I'll probably have an episode out. I'll probably record one maybe Monday, just as a recap, and then we'll see if we can record one. It's going to be hard to record one with everything going on, so I might just record them the rest of the semester, and then once we get out of school, get the guys back together. But, man, this is going to be a long episode. We got to speed run this. Patriots, Bengals. The whole left side of the offensive line, which is rookies Jared Wilson and Will Campbell, exited the game. But they've been playing out of their minds. Ramondre Stevenson's bad, dude. 6 carries, 5 yards. Holy cow. Drake May's playing out of his mind. I know it's been a while since we've last had an episode. He is, he's top 5 in the league quarterback stat-wise. I mean, you love him. The only issue is Matthew Stafford's cracked. And we'll talk about that in a second. I mean, watching him the other night, holy cow. Their defense, though, is creating problems. I mean, Hunter Henry hits 115 yards receiving. Damn. Defensively, I mean, Harold Landry looks great. Christian Gonzalez looks fantastic. Carlton Davis looks good. Christian Ellis looks solid. Jalen Hawkins is playing well. Christian Barmore is coming back from blood clot issues. and playing out of his mind. Robert Spillane, Caleb Von Chason. It's a defense by committee. It is a Mike Vrabel defense. There's not just one brother that's harassing you. It's just a bunch of dudes just harassing you. Now the Bengals, Joe Burrow might be back this week. I don't know what you do. I really don't know. Defensively, I mean, you get no pressure. Shamar Stewart, who's now back on the IR, does not look good. Miles Murphy does not look that. I mean, he's solid, but like, again, you spend a first-round pick on him. Joseph Osai, again, another first-round pick that has not panned out. They just haven't drafted well in the first round, and it's unfortunate. Jaguars, Cardinals. I'm really curious because there's 4 games left. Outside of this one, we're going to speed run this one, and the next 4 are going to be kind of big. Trevor Lawrence threw 3 picks, and there was a comp to him, and I thought, holy shat, that was an amazing comp. I forget who it is, but it's pretty much a backup in the league. Who, like, can start, but, like, you don't really want him to. The issue is they signed him to this big deal. 3 picks. I mean, Travis Etienne's having a hell of a season. I mean, holy cow. It's just... Trevor Lawrence likes to throw the ball away. And they're 7-4, but like it's not an inspiring 7-4. Parker Washington, 71 yards receiving. Brenton Strange comes back from IR and has 93 yards. What a dog! That is watch his development defensively. I mean, Devin Lloyd had 2 sacks. Josh Allen had a sack. Dennis Garnett had 2 sacks. Golly, who is that? How old are you? He's born in 94. He's 30, I think. I remember him playing with the Cardinals last year. He's all right. The Cardinals, though, this is really what I want to see. Jacob Brissett. 3 for another 300 yards. When Kyler Murray comes back, Jacoby Brissett's not the declared starter from the beginning, we've got a problem. Because, holy cow, he's having a fantastic year. 317 yards. They're 3-8. This team's got so many problems defensively now. Walter Nolan has come back from injury. He started the season. He missed the first half of the season with injury. He's coming out, and I mean he looks like a mini Jalen Carter. He looks fantastic. And Jacoby Brissett gives this team the best option to win. Hold on. They're running the game. They've been. I mean, Amari DeMarcado, who I loved, has gone down with injury. So you lose James Carter to injury. Then you're like, Trey Benson. He goes down for the IR. James Carter's out for the year. I think Trey Benson might be out for the year. Amari DeMarcado's on the IR, so he's out for 4 weeks. So who do you got? Michael Carter. Bam Knight, who Bam Knight decides to get the start. 10 carries, 12 yards. Michael Carter, 5 carries, 28 yards. That's bad. It's just bad. Like, you're not moving the ball. No one's scared for you to run the ball. Receiving-wise, Trey McBride, you're kind of wasting away. Greg Dorick. And then Michael Wilson had 118 yards receiving. I don't think they had Marvin Harrison Jr. Michael Wilson, that's just like second or third game. He has 534 yards receiving. But, I mean, that's just... Jonathan Gannon, in my opinion, probably is canned after this year. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he was. Browns Raiders. And I want to talk about this. So last week, Shedeur debuts, and he was like 4 of 11. No, 4 of... What was he? I mean, it was bad. It was not good. And, oh, man. Mainstream media pisses me off, right? Sports media, because like we really get delusional with these guys, right? Like it's kind of embarrassing. He goes 4 of 16 for 47 yards and throws a terrible pick. Not good at all, right? Well, there were some good throws. I mean, it looked solid. Those were 4 good completions. Like, we are grasping at straws to make him good because we want him so bad. And listen, I've not said Shedeur Sanders is not a good quarterback. He's a backup. And I think we're starting to come to that, right? So last week, Oh, wait, he hasn't gotten reps with the ones? What? He hasn't got ESPN is throwing down your throat. He hasn't gotten reps with the one. They don't want him to succeed. If you saw any of the podcast of anybody that was not on ESPN, and listen, I'm not someone saying ESPN is throwing this down our throat. I think ESPN's good for sports. I just don't think some of these guys, and I have no room to speak because I don't have the level of expertise, but I just don't. I think that was more personally motivated than it was like just looking fact-based, right? You talk to a lot of guys, and they're like, the ones never really... Chetty, I think somebody is a big backup said it, and Dan Orlovsky said it. He said, I barely got reps with the ones. Right? Shedeur Sanders, we forget, was QB4 in training camp, right? Because why didn't he get reps in training camp? It's QB4. Right? QB4 on no other team gets reps. And this has been an issue all along, right? We're trying to give him stardom, but he's QB3. Then he's QB2. And you're like, why isn't he getting all this? Well, if this wasn't Shedeur Sanders and this was if this was another backup, this was Jake Browning, no one would. There wouldn't be an uproar. Oh, let's just be Jake Browning, man. He had a bad game. The center doesn't know his cadence. He hasn't really practiced with the ones. Okay, he's a backup. And he did not start the season as the backup. He started the season as the fourth-string quarterback. And then he goes 4 for 16, and we're grasping for straws. And then he plays Sunday, and they win, right? And it was 11-20, 55% completion. It was 209 yards. And he had a pick and a touchdown. Right? And Dylan Simpson had his first, real decent, not even decent, just subpar rushing game. He's been god-awful. But we're looking at it right here, and it's like Dylan Simpson, your running back led the team in receiving with 59 yards rushing. If a running back leads your team in receiving, and his long was 66 yards. If the running back, and that was his one touchdown, if the running back leads the team in receiving, miss me on that. And again, this goes back to the Chiefs things. We look at one game in the NFL and we go, oh, they're great. No. I mean, we've done this with the Bills. We've done this with the Ravens. We've done this with the Commanders. We've done this with the Falcons. We do this with the Cowboys every year. You look at one game and you're like, holy cow. And this wasn't even a good game. He's 11 for 20. I mean, Harold Fanning had 4 catches, 40 yards. And it just is exhausting. Listen, if he's 14 and 20, okay. And it's 240 yards. This is a bad Raiders defense, too. I mean, this is not a good Raiders team. This is bad. And they fired Chip Kelly, and they should have. And we'll talk about that in a second. But we're, throwing down. We're getting, this, just Shedeur Sanders. He was so good this week. If his last name was not Sanders, it'd be such a different story. And it is aggravating. It is infuriating. Literally, if it was any other quarterback, and if you blocked out his name, right, and you did not know he played for the Browns, and you go 11-22 of 9, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Okay. Get to the TV. The Browns quarterback played really well, and you're like, I called the phone. That's odd. Trevor Lawrence did 200-something yards, 3 touchdowns. He had 3 picks, but we're not talking on him like that. Jacoby Brissett had multiple games of over 300 yards passing. And we're kind of sitting here like, well, he should be the starter, not like they're not wanting to win. They're not wanting to win. We're coming after Kevin Stefanski. Someone said, Kevin Stefanski, they're ruining this is not a Kevin Stefanski problem. Because Kevin Stefanski is one of the better offensive minds in the game. And Rex Ryan said this last year. He said, this is either the team trying to destroy Shedeur, or Shedeur's just not that good. And I think it's just Shedeur's not him. We glaze him so hard that it is embarrassing. It is embarrassing. But the guy that I think we don't talk about enough, and we don't talk about the season, this is a good defensive line. Malik Collins had got 2 sacks. I mean, how many sacks does he have on the year? 6. That's really good from a D tackle that is not known for pass rushing, right? Myles Garrett, I think, has 18 sacks now. He has 18 sacks. That is stupid. He's got 6 games left. 18 sacks, 6 games. He gets a sack a game. That puts him at 24. He breaks the... I mean, he literally needs 1 sack a game, and he's getting sacks right now in bunches. He's had multiple 5-game sacks, and I think he has 2 4-game sacks, 1 5-game sack games, and then like another 3. And then he had like a few 2s. I mean, it is in bunches, and he absolutely embarrassed the Raiders' offensive line. And this was an offensive line that we came in, Colton Miller, Jackson Powers Johnson, like solid. The Mooch Jackson, we didn't understand why they switched the guard in the center. To like, I forgot who the guard was, but he was rated as one of the better guards, and they moved him to center. And they moved Jackson Powers Johnson, who was one of the better centers in football, to guard, and it backfired. But they haven't moved him back, and then Jackson Powers Johnson is hurt, and it's apparently all because Chip Kelly's being a dumbass. And Geno Smith has played, I mean, god awful. I mean, what are we looking? 13 touchdowns, 13 picks. You pay Chip Kelly 9. I don't understand the Chip Kelly. I thought we learned after the first time that it wasn't going to work. But it's Chip Kelly. And there's power to it. There's pull to his name. And we're trying to, like, bring him in here when it's just like, no. Like, there's nothing wrong with him being a really good college coordinator. He's going to make a living, a great living. We're talking about millions of dollars here. I just don't think the game, I don't think the game's panned out for that. Brock Bowers is not having that. They're not feeding Brock Bowers. I mean, yeah, he had 6 catches, and yes, he's missed time. But he only has had 510 yards received. Like, there's nothing where you're like, man, Brock Bowers had a hell of a day again. Like, no. Like, Brock Bowers, you have arguably what is going to be a generational tight end. Feed the man the ball. Especially when you don't have a good, like, Trey Tucker is now your number 1 receiver. And he is on a good team, a 3. A 3, maybe a 2, but a 3. Right? Ashton Jeanty is getting harassed. Like, his rookie year has just been shot away because we just didn't know what to do. And this is a team that has to, like, address the offensive line. Right? And quarterback. And, I mean, Michael Mayer hasn't done well. It's so bad. And Max Crosby has to request a trade. There's no way he keeps dealing with this. Right? There's just no way. But they fired Chip Kelly, and I think rightfully so. Now, to one of the last few games we've got. Eagles lose to the Cowboys 21-24. Jalen Hurts played a decent game. He's not running the ball as much. Saquon Barkley struggled, and this is always the fear. And this is why I don't think we appreciate Derrick Henry enough, is because Derrick Henry is force-fed the ball and is legend, like, just fantastic. Like, there's not... He had that one year with the Titans, his last year with the Titans, where you're like, And this year he's kind of slowing down, but he's still, like, better than, like, 75% of the running backs in the league. Saquon Barkley's not played well this year. Not played that well. I mean, like, let's look at it here when I click on him. He's averaging 3.7 yards a carry, 4 touchdowns, 684 yards. I mean, it's just nothing that I'm like, wow. After last year, like on a normal year, okay. But after last year, they got A.J. Brown the ball. He had 110 yards receiving. Devontae Smith missed a few catches. Like, I mean, there were a few times where you're just looking at him like, brother, catch that. Defensively, Nakobe, they played well defensively. It was just fumbles. I mean, just fumble. Like, Xavier Gibson catches the ball on like the inside the 5. Why? Let that shot bounce in the end zone, right? He fumbles. They fumble another time. Saquon Barkley fumbles. It's just turnovers. And then it is the end of the fourth quarter. It is tied 21-21. The Cowboys run the ball. 45 seconds to go. They're close to the 50. It's going to be a 64-yard field goal. They run the ball. When the ball is dead, when the play is called dead, there's 45 seconds left. And I think this is the most dumbfounding move of the day. Nick Sirianni calls a timeout. Why? Like, if Brandon Audrey's going to snipe us, I'd rather him snipe us, right? You call a timeout instead of the play clock running down, and the Cowboys using a timeout. What they do? A guy that's having a hell of a season. And, I mean, this just shows that I don't know what Mike... I don't think Mike Tomlin doesn't know what he's doing, but he was not working in Mike Tomlin's system. He has over 1,000 yards receiving already. He has 1,054 yards receiving, 8 receiving touchdowns. He's averaging 15.7 yards a catch. That's stupid, right? I mean, he is the number 1 receiver on this team. CeeDee Lamb, who I think is actually a good role for him, is a number 2 receiver. Fantastic role. And then Jake Ferguson's your 3. They've got it. They've got a receiving core finally. And they don't really have a running game. Javonte Williams is solid, but and Kevontae Turpin fumbled the ball a few times, but we got to George Pickens is just jumping up and just harassing corners, just double team, snagging over their head, and on the sideline, catching it. I mean, just climbing the ladder, and he has a crosser. I'd say what's called a mesh, I think is what it's called. Throw it to him. What did he do? Run for 35 yards? Well, shit. Now this is a chip in. And now I think the Cowboys can call timeout and they get another play. It's a 24-yard field goal. Brandon Aubrey is the best kicker. What are you doing? What are you that move made no sense. You're giving a Cowboys team who has one of the better offenses in the league momentum. Just let them take the L, go to OT, clutch it out, and go home. And snuff their dreams. They'll be 4-6 at that point, and 1. That's not a good record to go into the final month and a half of the season. But you don't. Logan Wilson's played well for them. I mean, that's been a great acquisition because Shamar James is terrible. Siobhan Revel is starting to play more. Brennan Spann Ford had a great catch in the end zone. DeMarvin Overshown, I've been saying all year, wait for DeMarvin Overshown. He's kind of like a hybrid edge middle linebacker. He's just a force, just so disruptive. Donovan Ezeruku looks good, and then Quentin Williams looks solid as well. But just so frustrating. So Sunday night's game, we really won't talk about Monday night's game much. The Buccaneers just got manhandled. Baker Mayfield sprained his shoulder. They didn't have Bucky Irving. They didn't run the ball well. Really at all. I don't even know who Owen White is. Tez Johnson, we talked about this because I thought Tez Johnson was going to be really good. Should have gone higher. I thought he would have gone higher, but then he had one of the slower 40 times, and you're like, well, you're small. I need you to be a burner. I think this is one of the things where he doesn't have track speed. He has game speed, and that's just and it's good game speed. So he doesn't time well, but the shit works in the game. So Tez Johnson, he's got what are we looking at here for Tez? 282 yards for 5 touchdowns. Nothing insane, but as a guy that was drafted in the 7th round, that's good. And that's a fine. And you add that with Emeka Egbuka, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Jalen McMillan. They've got to receive. Tez Johnson could be the 3. You have McMillan be your 2 on the outside, and then Emeka Egbuka. And then maybe, Mike Evans is your other guy, right? And then you pay Chris Godwin. So, you've got your 5 receivers of the future. Holy cow, right? And the defense doesn't have much of a pass rush. Their defense does not scare me. Zion McCollum was just getting hurt, bent over all game long by Devontae Adams. And I want to talk about the Rams offensively first. The Bucs were saying, you're not beating us with the runs. The Rams were like, okay, well, we're just not going to run it then. Okay, you're one-dimensional. And the Rams were like, yeah, but you see our quarterback? He completed 71% of his passes for 273 yards for 3 touchdowns. Puka Nacua had 97 yards. This is a insane 1-2, right? Because Puka Nacua is going to get you to the end zone. But he's not big enough body to go up and climb the ladder. Well, what do you do to fix that problem? Oh, get one of the better receivers of our generation. Who's on an insane run. Devontae Adams catches 5 catches for 62 yards, 2 touchdowns. He has a whopping 12 touchdowns right now. Only on 631 yards receiving. He might have maybe 1,000-yard season. But he'll go down with 16 touchdowns. And you're just looking at this what is happening? That is such a well put together offense. They lose Tyler Higbee, their number one tight end. Well, by the way, Cody Parkinson's pretty good. Oh, by the way, Davis Allen, yeah, he's pretty solid. Terrence Ferguson, the guy they drafted this year, yeah, he's going to be a problem in a few years. Puka Nacua goes out for a play or two. Jordan Winningham, solid. Oh, we need a slot. Tutu Atwell. There's just on and on and on. And they lose their right tackle. And my boy, not my boy, but he's a Georgia guy, came from Georgia. Warren McClendon comes in and plays, well. I mean, really good. And you're just looking at this offense going, damn. I mean, Matthew Stafford, let's just look at his stats because holy cow. He's got, 30 passing touchdowns already. That's the most he's had since his first year with the Rams. Right? He has 2 picks. That is the least. He's never done that well. He has thrown at least 5. He threw 5 in 2019, but he only played 8 games. So in a full season, the lowest amount he's had is 8. He's at 2. He's got 30 passing touchdowns. The last time he was above 30 was in 2021. He threw 41. I'm pretty sure they won the Super Bowl that year. Yeah, they did win the Super Bowl. And the fact, okay, I want to talk about this with Matthew Stafford. That year, he was not a Pro Bowl or an MVP candidate or All-Pro. What the hell? I hate the award system for the NFL. So, and mind you, there's still 6 games left. They're 9-2. And we haven't even started on the defense. He's completing, what is the completion percentage? 66.5% of his passes. And he's 37? This is a guy that every year is contemplating retirement. And he's slinging it like he's young, like he's 33. This is one of the best. This is the 3rd best season he's had in his career. And it will probably end up being maybe the best season he's had at the age of 37. This is a guy that's probably pushing for his gold jacket right now, making a gold jacket push. Now, he has 2 Pro Bowls, and you're kind of looking at that But if he goes down with the MVP at Super Bowl, the passing stats that he will be a back end, he'll sneak in. And if he plays for another year, he'll cement it. And if he wins the Super Bowl this year, which I think they will, you can't say he's not a Hall of Famer. But defensively, Emmanuel Forbes plays 2 years for the Commanders and was one of the worst corners in football. Goes to the Commanders and is one of the better corners in the league. He's above league average all of a sudden. He gets his 3rd pick of the night. Jared Verse has 2 sacks. We're about to talk about this defense. Jared Verse has 2 sacks. Amari Spice is one of the better linebackers in the game. And Nate Landman, they pulled out the scrap heaps and he just got a bag. And they got one of the better linebacking cores in the game. Kobe Turner, D tackle, 2 sacks. Kobe Durant, one of the better corners in the league. This is one of the better secondaries. This is a young secondary. Quentin Lake, great DB. Byron Young, another really good defensive end. You have Cameron Kitchens, one of the best. I think he was ranked 3rd on PFF as a safety. Braden Fisk, another better D tackles in the league. Jim McHugh, who had a great year last year as a nickel dime player, kind of. And Ken Curl, who's just like a box safety, is going to come up and make hella tackles. Poona Ford, great run stopper. You're looking at this. Tyler Davis, very good D tackle, or solid D tackle. Josiah Stewart, a really young, exciting D end. Darius Williams, a very solid corner. There's just dudes. You watch this defense and you're like, they're suffocating. They squeeze the life out of you, to where it's just hard for a team to play. And I honestly think they're the Super Bowl favorites. Now, 49ers, Panthers. I think the NFC South the NFC South is so bad. Bryce Young did not play well, and I think we're getting to the end of his run as a starter. I think he'll be a backup, but man, it was rough. And this is a team, you've got Tedero McMillan and Xavier Legette's a great, I love him as a number 2 receiver. I think he was miscast as a number 1, hoping he'd be a number 1. I think Tedero McMillan, Xavier Legette, and then Jalen Coker as your 1, 2, 3. It's a hell of a 1-2-3. I mean, you get a good quarterback, that's a damn good 1-2-3. Defensively, just not inspiring in the 49ers. Brock Purdy, and his first game back in a month and a half threw 3 picks, and I think everyone's like, oh my goodness, 3 picks. We forget he had turf toe, and he's been battling that. So let's give him a game. If this becomes a problem, oh no. But it's just one game, and he hasn't played in a while. Christian McCaffrey, 24 carries, 89 yards, and then he had 7 catches, 53 yards. He has 81 receptions. It's stupid. What he's doing, he's having a historical year. Ricky Pearsall's not been that good this year, and that's been kind of disappointing because you just want to see more. This is just a bad 49ers team right now. It's just destroyed with injuries. So let's move on. CFP rankings. Let's see if they've come out now. Because I am very curious. Yes, it did come out. So, Ohio State's 1, Indiana's 2, Texas A&M's 3, Georgia's 4, 5 is Texas Tech. I don't hate that. I think Texas Tech is finally getting the love they deserve. Jacob Rodriguez should be the Heisman winner. I think the fact that, he's having a fantastic season. And I think he'll go on to have a great NFL career. He's not going to get drafted high, but he's just going to be a dog. He's just going to be a guy that you're like, hey, his tools don't read off the page, but great instincts, just knows the game. Okay. So I have no problems with the top 5. Oregon 6, Ole Miss 7, Oklahoma 8, Notre Dame 9, Bama 10. Bama losing that game to Oklahoma was rough. Oklahoma being 8 is absurd. Not because they don't deserve it, just because of how bad that offense is. I think Bama should be over Notre Dame. I don't think Notre Dame should be that high. BYU's 11, Miami's 12. Utah's 13, Vanderbilt's 14, Michigan's 15, Texas is 16, USC 17, Virginia 18, Tennessee 19, Arizona State 20. Arizona State's kind of making a late season push. I don't think they'll make it, but I think it's very respectable to see what they're doing. They've lost Sam Levin for the year, and they're talking about him leaving. Utah is scary. That's a scary team that's going to be a dogfight. They've always got great defenses, and they've got 2 first-round tackles on that team. So that's a solid offensive line. Devin Dampier is just a really good college quarterback. He's just going to he's a gamer. Vanderbilt, I don't think Diego Pavia, I wouldn't say this, and then he's going to go and beat the dog piss out of Tennessee. I just don't, when I think of a championship, I don't see him. I just don't. I don't see Vanderbilt. I really don't. And the same goes for Michigan. Michigan, I think they need to bring a guy through the transfer portal, recruit a really good receiver, and get some Bryce Underwood some help. Miami is the ACC's only hope. Maybe Virginia. But holy, is it getting rough in the ACC. Your top team's 12. That's not good. And then, Georgia Tech's got to play Georgia this week. But moving on, 21 SMU, 22 Pittsburgh, 23 Georgia Tech, 24 Tulane, 25 Arizona. It kind of pisses me off that I don't see North Texas or JMU. And JMU, arguably is 10-1. The fact that they're not 24 is a problem. And it outright atrocity. And North Texas, I think, is a one-loss team as well. And they're not over. I'd had them over Arizona, which good to see Noah Fifta finally doing good since his freshman year. Because he was supposed to be a really, really good prospect. Sucked last year with Tedrow McMillan. Tedrow McMillan. And, it's just unfortunate. It's just unfortunate. Why isn't JMU in? And Tulane, it's between Tulane, North Texas, and JMU. And honestly, I think all 3 should be in the top 25, but between 20 and 25. And so the talk is, why are we letting a team that be at that point be in the playoffs? And I agree with that. And everyone's saying they need to be in the top 15. I think if you're top 20 and you're a group of 5 team, you deserve to be in. I think that's fair. because you're kind of safely in. If you lose a close game, you won't be out. But if you lose by big, you're out. And I think that's fair. But JMU not being ahead is absolutely stupid. In North Texas, Drew Westmaker and Hawkins, I think his name Caleb Hawkins. I mean, that's a damn good team right there. Honestly, I'd rather see James. But the problem is, Tulane has Jake Rensloff, and you may be like, who's that? Well, if you don't remember, BYU's been a good football team for the past few years. Yeah, that quarterback of the team for the past 2 years, Jake Rensloff. It was just he wasn't down for the Mormon thing or the Mormon rules at BYU, so they kick him out, and he goes to Tulane, and Tulane's pretty good now. I think honestly, Jake Rensloff stays another year, goes to a big school, and probably turns out to be a first-round quarterback. Hot take. But it's just so it's stupid. I really am starting to hate these rankings, and I've got beef with them because Tech got shafted. But dude, it's just unfortunate. Tulane only being 24th is insane, and they'll end up being the 12th seed, which is even crazier as they jump up 12 spots. But in college football, you can move up for doing jack shit. To the NBA, because we're at like an hour and a half, 15 minutes, right? John Morant got in Klay Thompson's face. Like, Klay Thompson, because the Warriors were such a problem to the Grizzlies, Klay Thompson is, like, in John Morant's head, and it's embarrassing. I mean, John Morant's out, and John Morant is in the teetering of, like, his career is, like, going down like this. It's, like, about to go like that. And he's just jawing, and he's one of the worst defenders in the NBA. He's one of the worst shooters in the NBA. And so what do? You just create a wall against him. But he's not Giannis. So, like, and the Grizzlies are so mid. It'd be different if John Morant was healthy, right? It'd be different if he could stay healthy and talk trash. He's on the bench. And Klay Thompson, I don't care who you think you are. Klay Thompson, at John Morant's age, dropped 60. Dropped 60 points. Klay Thompson is a 4-time NBA champion. Klay Thompson's the second best shooter to ever walk in the NBA. Klay Thompson is one of the better two guards in NBA history. Klay Thompson was the main counterpart of the Splash Bros. Who the hell are you to be yapping? When you haven't done shat, you've been suspended for a whole year, and you can't stay healthy. You've arguably gotten worse since you've entered the league. Why are you yapping? But we're going to quickly break down the East. The East is getting interesting right now. Detroit is 15-2. They've won 13 straight games. This point 2 years ago, they had 14. Well, in 2023, they had 14 or 15 wins. Right now, they're 15-2. And this is a good team. I wouldn't mess with them at all. People are saying, trade, bring in Lauri Markkanen. No! We are ahead of the timeline. We are ahead of schedule. And I don't think they keep this up. I think Cleveland makes a run. And I think the Knicks and the Hawks do. But I love what I'm seeing. And this is without a Jaden Ivey that looks that good. I mean, Jaden Ivey does not look spectacular. This is with an Asar Thompson who does not have a jump shot or does not have an offensive game. We don't know what Ron Holland's got. And this brother Dennis Jenkins, brother's a bucket. He's averaging like 20 right now. Yeah, Jaden Ivey's played 2 games. Like, whoa. Let's the homegrown talent develop, right? Because you may have your 2 guard, your number 2 option in Jaden Ivey. On a insane Detroit team. I mean, insane. Right? And you have Duncan Robinson. You have the Isaiah Stewarts. You have Karis LeVert off the bench. I mean, this is a team. Marcus Sasser hasn't played yet. I mean, points per game. Yeah, Dennis Jenkins is averaging 10.5 points, but he's gone on like an insane stretch while Cade Cunningham's been out. Asar Thompson's doing 12.6 points per game, and he's shooting now 30% from three. Now, he's shooting 1 3 a game, but, Tobias Harris is averaging 14. Tobias Harris is just a bit of a dog. Jalen Duren's averaging 20 on 11.5 rebounds. Isaiah Stewart's averaging 11 off the bench. Karis LeVert's averaging 10. Ron Holland's averaging 8, and we don't know what Ron Holland is. This team, I mean, I would love to see more off the bench depth, but this team healthy, and I mean, they got more first-round picks, is stupid. Just stupid. And, okay, I want to talk about first-round picks. Back to the NFL. The Rams, they have the Falcons first-rounder. The Rams have 2 first-round picks. They could pick Matthew Stafford's replacement and let him just back him up. I'll talk about that when we get closer. I had to go on that road. But I don't think we give the Pistons enough love. Now, another team that I'm kind of getting bumfuzzled about is the Raptors. The Raptors are second in the East at 13-5. And I don't want to say it's an inspiring 13-5. It really isn't. Like, I'm not looking at this team going, wow. Brandon Ingram, RJ Barrett's playing well. This is actually kind of inspiring. They've got 3 19-plus point game scores. Emmanuel Quickly looks good. Sandra Mikhailush is pretty good off the bench. Grady Dick, they just removed him and said, we're done with that experiment. Emmanuel Ochai Agba is all right. They have no depth, but if the starting 5 is healthy, holy cow, because Brandon Ingram is their 1. Scotty Barnes is the 2. RJ Barrett's the 3. Emmanuel Quickly is the 4, scoring option. Colin Murphy-Boyles, who was... they've got 3 first-round picks coming off the bench, and Colin Murphy-Boyles, Grady Dick, and Jacoby Walker. Grady Dick was supposed to be the 2, Jacoby Walker was supposed to be the 3, and Cameron Murphy-Boyles was supposed to be the 4, and I don't know where Scotty Barnes was supposed to be. And those guys are just sitting on the bench. And you could package them and trade them for a good veteran bench unit, for 2 good veteran bench players. The Raptors being that high, the Heat are 3rd, the Cavaliers. The Hawks are looking good. Jalen Johnson's playing out of his mind. Nickeil Walker-Alexander's playing out of his mind, too. The Bulls, at one point, when we did the first episode with Talon, they were 5-0. They are now 9-8. They have fallen. We kind of expected. The Pacers and the Nets are terrible. The Hornets, they're 4-13, but that's an exciting team. I'll talk about them on another episode because this is quite long of an episode. But, yeah, let's go to the West real quick. Wembanyama's hurt. The Thunder are 17-1. The Lakers are overhyped. Yeah, that's it for right now. I'm going to do for the NBA because this is a lot, and I think next week we'll focus more on the NBA. But, yeah. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this episode goes up. But, yeah. See y'all next time.